Fred? Utakuja huku ama okay huko?
Hey, what up?
Look,
what do we
watching. We should be. It's 5:58, so we should be live.
All right, this is a morning cafe. Karibu sana. Good morning. My name is Fred Indimuli.
My name is Ann Odida, and we are happy that you could join us this morning on the show.
I tell you, we are here to wake you up the best way we know how. This is a morning cafe. Gazeti na mambo mingi ambayo tutakwambia. One of the things is Sakaja. Sakaja wamesema impeachment tena. MCAs wa Nairobi wamesema we are going back. Sakaja. On the dock.
Wanasema Sakaja must go. Saki kusema Sakaja must go and then they quote us. No. How hot is your coffee this morning? It's the 19th of February 2026, World Anthropology Day. Fred, unajua anthropology ni nini?
Nikiwa campus nilisikia kulikuwa na anthropology. I don't know what people do in anthropology.
I know it's the study of human things, human bodies and all that.
Right.
Lakini, let's see. Let's talk to the people.
It is also the day when Law Society of Kenya are going to the elections. So today is the last day that Faith Odhiambo is LSK president. That election is happening.
Yes.
So today, lawyers go to elect a new president of their society.
Yes.
And today the discussion here, of course, is about Nairobi City and what that deal that Sakaja signed with the president means for the city.
Absolutely.
Watu wengi wamekasirika sana hiyo maneno.
Kabisa. Lakini mbona wamekasirika? Wanasema ameshindwa kufanya kazi ama?
MCAs are among those people. What did they say yesterday? They said he must go. And it's on record. You can listen to them.
Yes. Mtu alisema this time round city I Kwiru na Dimples. That's a harsh thing to say.
Come on. Anyway, this is what the MCAs in Nairobi had to say about Governor Sakaja.
Ndio Nairobi iwapo. Sakaja must go. Ndio iwapo. Sakaja must go.
Ndio iwapo, Sakaja must go.
Yes.
I think he walked into this one. Your deal he signed, he walked into this one.
Amejikaranga.
So what do you think about what's happening in Nairobi? Do you agree with Governor Sakaja in him cooperating, let's call it cooperating with President William Ruto in some of the key functions of the county government of Nairobi?
And then the question of, is Nairobi that special? Do we need that? 80, is it 80 billion?
80 billion shillings.
80 billion Kenyan shillings. You know, do you think we need it?
Oh, of course we need it. Nairobi definitely needs it. There's so much you can do with that kind of money in Nairobi. But is that the main intention? Is that the main intention? If it is, why don't you just give the 80 billion shillings to the county government? Wafanye hiyo kazi.
Tuambieni, do you think Nairobi is that important? And then what happens to other cities? Ama just because Nairobi is the capital city?
It is a seat of the national government as well. So definitely, it's something that needs to be worked on, because anytime we look at the city, it's more than just a county. This is a seat of the national government. This is where all the foreign missions are based. This is where the UN has most of its headquarters. So yes, definitely Nairobi is special.
All right, let's come back and take a look at the weather. But before that, talk to us, Tuambie, what do you think about this whole Nairobi national government collaboration? It's not what you think it is. It's just a collaboration, not anything to do with that NMS style. Yes?
All right. Use our social media pages on X TV47 Digital, on Facebook TV47 Kenya. It is also TV47 Kenya.
Yes.
On YouTube.
Yes.
You can give us your feedback there and we'll be sure to sample it. Make sure you use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47.
And today tuko na yule mtu wa Man United.
Sasa jana Arsenal wametufanyia ile kitu.
Oh my.
A game that they should have won, they drew at the last minute. 90 minutes plus. It was a known goal.
I'm sure Tania akambia his fellow director.
And then it happens sasa tumekuja asubuhi jamaa wa Man U ndio director. Atupumui. Tuhurumieni mtu
Arsenal keeps proving our haters right. Please.
Anyway.
Let's come back and take a look at the weather. All right, let's take a look at the weather situation across various parts in the country. Tuangalie how it's looking like. The cold season is here with us. Narok, it's a mostly cloudy day today. This morning it's 13 degrees. Highs of 22 degrees expected in Narok today. Nyamira as well, mostly cloudy day. This morning is 14 degrees. Today, highs of 22 degrees in Nyamira, Samburu. This morning is 19 degrees. It's a cloudy day in Samburu. Highs of 29 degrees today. Not so bad in Samburu, considering that this is one of the hard-hit areas by drought. Other areas, we take a look at Makueni as well. It's 19 degrees this morning. It's a mostly cloudy day. Highs of 28 degrees today. Tharaka, it's very, very hot. As we speak, it's 22 degrees. Today they're expecting highs of 33 degrees. It's a mostly cloudy day in Tharaka. Lamu, it's 25 degrees this morning. Highs of 30 degrees expected today in Lamu. So holiday weather in Lamu. We take a look at other areas as well. Tuange kunakaa vipi, but in Nairobi, like I've mentioned this morning, it's about 15 degrees. It's a very comfortable weather today. It's showering and a little bit of drizzles, precipitation expected today. Let's take a look at the quote of the day.
No need to hurry, no need to sparkle, no need to be anybody but oneself.
All right, we take a look at the regional dailies now, and we start off in Uganda. Daily Monitor, it says thorns and roses. Suspect in Uganda Christian University, that is UCU, killing narrates how he accessed the house. Boy delivers Valentine flower, killed by girlfriend's father. The hurdles awaiting new Kampala police boss in Me Too. Now this story is on page 5, 6 and 7. Suspect in UCU killing narrates how he assessed the house. Uni yule aliingia kwa nyumba akachukua di nguo ya the person that he killed.
He killed his victim, then wore her dress.
Yes.
Yes.
The dean of students at UCU.
Remember that in Kampala, they're still trying to deal with this wave of crime. So that's why they've listed 3 different instances. The one for the UCU dean killing, then that one, a boy who delivered Valentine flowers, then killed his girlfriend's father.
Yeah.
Or killed by his girlfriend's father. Hey, lakini that one, surely. I bring flowers to your house, then your father ananimaliza. Sabi ya maua tu.
Oh, yeah.
Mapenzi ina cost maisha ya watu.
Anaitwa Hussein Daktaiweko is the key suspect in the killing of the UCU Director of Students Affairs. Anaitwa Pamela Tumwabazi. Other quick headlines: clergy task faithful on peace as Lent starts. Farmers abandon cotton growing. This is Uganda. And matters business as well. Why Nedbank is paying a premium for NCBA. Hawa ndio hii habari imewafikia kudelewa. On the top strip, opposition downplays yellow Nsibambi. Top schools tighten senior 5 cut-off scores. That's the Daily Monitor.
All right, still stay in Uganda. Matters education given prominence on the front page of the New Vision. Schools raise a senior 5 cut-offs. So point for science combinations tightened amid stiff competition. In Uganda wacheze na maswala ya elimu.
Yes.
So cut-off point inaendelea kipanda ya senior school. Senior 5. This is ukishamaliza form 4. Ile sasa ilikuwa inaitwa advanced level.
Yes.
A levels. Senior 5. Cut-off imepanda. The other story here, Christians mark Ash Wednesday. Of course, they kicked off yesterday the 40-day period of Lent. Also, the 30-day holy month of Ramadan started yesterday. So hapo ameiweka kwenye ukurasa wa mbele. Pale juu, UNEP does not discriminate against urban schools. That's the Ministry of Education in Uganda. So matters education given a lot of prominence in Uganda today.
All right, we cross over to Bongo now and we start off with gazeti la Mwananchi. VETA kutoa diploma ya house girl.
Interesting.
Itawawezesha kupata elimu ya utoaji huduma, malezi, ustahimilivu na ukarimu. Soko lao lazidi kuongezeka.
I think this is very commendable.
It is.
This is very commendable.
Oh wow, that for you to be a house help in Tanzania lazima ukuwe na diploma.
Sasa unakuja, then you come for an interview with your potential employer.
Yes.
Most of you anakuja anaangalia performance yako, so ulipata diploma na wameandika hapo chini wewe ni mzuri, uko na tabia nzuri, you're good at as a nanny, you're good cook.
Yeah.
At least you have something, some qualification.
Something to show.
But that comes with the demands that of course if I've qualified and I've gone to school, then ile maswala ya
Pesa.
Wage bill. Yeah, minimum wage bill. Then there's a demand as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's something very commendable.
If this happens in Kenya, watu itabidi wametoboka mifuko.
I think it should happen in Kenya as well, because these people also need qualifications.
They do.
Yeah.
All right, that's the main headline on the front page of gazeti la Mwananchi. Utashi kisiasa kikwazo safari ya katiba mpya. Hadi ya CCM ni kwamba ndani ya siku 100 za mwanzo kupitia falsafa ya R4 kuendeleza mashauriano na wadau wa siasa, taasisi za kiraia na sekta binafsi kwa kuunda tume ya kuanzisha mazungumzo ya maridhiano na upatanishi na vilevile kuandaa mazingira ya kwanza mchakato wa katiba mpya. Habari hii iko katika ukurasa wa 5. Mchuano wa Lissu, mashahidi wa jamhuri, kesi ya uhaini inayomkabili mwenyekiti wa Chadema imezidi kunguruma katika mahakama kuu ambapo mchuano kati yake na mashahidi inaendelea. Kuna wiki hii ile shahidi wake mwingine alienda kule akamruka kipetero kiesi.
Sasa ni mashahidi wa serikali wanakuja.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Bye.
Mwigulu amuru maofisa wamlipe mkandarasi shilingi milioni 2.8 ni habari nyingine tu katika ukurasa wa 2, na kule juu koti ilivyobariki aliyemteka mtoto kumuua anyongwe. That's Mwananchi.
Still in the
Bongo.
In the Bongo. In Tanzania, the Citizen. Slow vehicle conversions cast doubt on CNG plans, despite significant investment in refueling stations and supporting facilities for compressed natural gas. Uptake among private motorists and commercial fleet operators has lagged, raising concerns over the commercial viability of further expansion. You know, the way we are so used to petrol stations. In fact, we call them petrol stations. Now, in Tanzania, they've opened what we call natural gas stations.
Wow.
But the problem is the number of vehicles that are still, their engines use petrol is the highest. So they have to convert all their engines to be able to use natural gas for this project to be viable. Hata wakikuja Kenya with the natural gas, I don't think it will work at this point. Yeah. Most of our vehicles either use diesel or petrol. So natural gas, you need a bit of conversion for that.
Is it cheaper though?
It depends on availability. In Tanzania, they have a lot of natural gas. So if at all they're able to convert most of their cars to be able to use this, then it will be viable. But the problem is, who's taking up the cost of converting your car from petrol engine to natural gas? Okay. Another story, new diploma course for house helps in the offing. We've discussed that on the front page of Mwananchi. And we say this is something that we could copy even as Kenyans.
Yes.
Another story here, influence not optics, why gender parity requires design. And that's the Citizen. All
right, let's come back now and take a look at the local ones. The Standard, man of the moment. The Standard says, who's fooling whom? Not so fast. Before the ink had dried on the cooperation agreement between President William Ruto and Nairobi Governor Johnson-Sakaja, a political backlash had already erupted. Critics are branding the 80 billion shillings pact a backdoor takeover disguised as a partnership. Senators, MPs and civil society groups say the opaque deal sidelines the Senate and County Assembly, skirts public participation and risks reviving the ghost of NMS. With billions in play as the 2027 contest ages closer, opponents argue the capital city is being turned into a high-stakes arena for graft.
Yes, 80 billion shillings.
Who's fooling whom?
80 billion shillings is at stake. But the thing is, now this 80 billion shillings may come to help Nairobi, but how is a county administration benefiting from this?
Yes.
That money is not being sent to the county. It is being run by a different layer of authority
Yeah.
between the national government and the county government.
Yes.
So they're the ones to actually dish out these tenders for these things they're talking about. If it's solid waste management, that tender should go through that new committee. Chaired by who? Prime Cabinet Secretary, and a number of CSS sitting on it with the governor as the deputy chair.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not what you think it is, though. Yes.
And then kama ni water, hiyo pesa, nani anapeana tender?
National government.
Yes.
Now, the deal is estimated to involve between 25 billion shillings and 35 billion shillings annually, tied to revenue collection, infrastructure, spending, health services, land approvals, and debt obligations. It takes us back to the question, is Nairobi that important for this, and what happens to other cities? The national government is set to take over 5 Nairobi county departments, and that includes transport and traffic management, health services, revenue collection and enforcement, urban planning, housing and public land, and of course environment and solid waste management. 5 departments in total.
But the governor insists it is not a takeover.
It's not a takeover.
It is not a transfer of functions.
It's not what you think.
It's not what you think.
Sanitation and sewage, Nairobi River regeneration, 9 billion shillings to construct 2 parallel 27 kilometers trunk sewer networks along the Nairobi River corridor. And finally, roads, bridges and drainage requires 2 billion shillings already, or 2 billion shillings have already been allocated to complete phase 1 Kura roads within 2 months. That's interesting. Who's fooling whom? It's a story on page 4 and 5, and it's the only story mentioned on the front page. Page 2 talks about Muslim Ramadan and Christian Lent begin in a rare coincidence.
That story on page 2, I think you should not skip it. The court slashes Waititu bail to 20 million shillings in draft case. I think it's only yesterday we were mentioning Governor Waititu.
Yes.
His fine was initially about 53 billion shillings. He has spent over a year behind bars. Yes. Now finally the courts agreed to reduce by more than half the bail money.
Wow.
So this one probably he may be able, or he may agree to pay. Yeah.
53.7 million to 20
million at least, so that he can, as his appeal continues in the case, because he had already been sentenced to, I think, 12 years in prison. So as his appeal continues, he could be out on bail. Yes.
All right, other headlines here. Of course, that story on outcry. Why leaders want 80 billion Sakaja Ruto deal shelved. U-turn, it's a story on page 4 and 5. Fears grow over roles of Nairobi Metro Police. Page 6, U-turn. Ruto turns to Uhuru's playbook as he navigates politics. President was the biggest critic of his predecessors, finding fault in everything he did. However, he's copy-pasting the ways of his former boss in more ways than one. Yesterday, we talked about the Prime Minister, Abiy Ahmed, trying to bring the two together because they don't see eye.
Wanaharibu kazi ya continent. Bara la Afrika. Watu wawili wamekosana, sasa kazi haitaendelea.
New bill aims to boost safety and values in school is another story on page 7 of the Standard. Now, you remember that Lena Kapavir, some call it Lena Kapavir, some call it Lena Sapavir. It arrived in the country yesterday. Boost, a state gets 21,000 HIV prevention doses. It says it makes a huge boost in efforts to curb new infections, especially among young people. Once again, this is for people who are HIV negative. On the back page of the Standard, Vinny Jr. hits out at cowards after racism storm against Benfica.
There's a story on page 9 of the Standard, and this one I think I've seen a lot of discussion on it, especially on TikTok, because there was a proposal before Parliament to have TikTok banned in Kenya.
Yes.
So MPs have finally rejected that TikTok ban proposal, but now they're proposing tighter regulations instead. So TikTok will still be there, but probably tighter regulations. I don't know what form of regulations and how that can be enforced, but it's good to note that over 580,000 videos on TikTok in Kenya were taken down last year for violating some rules. So yes, that could be the kind of regulations that come, that when you post something that's deemed offensive or something like that,
take it down. But this issue about regulation, we've had this conversation since 2024, 2023. So it's something that has been going on. Lakini sasa, what's the problem? Why has it stalled? Are they bringing it back?
Well, you see now everything, you need regulations through Parliament. So, but parliamentarians pia unajua wako TikTok.
That's the standard.
All right, let's go to the Daily Nation, and it's the same story about Nairobi that features on the front page of this paper. On the Daily Nation, they talk about the plots, this fresh plots to impeach Sakaja. It's what we started with on the show. Under siege, Nairobi MCAs have revived their bid to impeach Governor Johnson Sakaja, claiming that his deal with State House for help to run the county is an admission of inability to govern. Now, very interesting, I saw the MCA for Kileleshwa, who is among the most vocal MCAs in Nairobi.
Yeah.
He supports President William Ruto and this deal, and he says the president has done well, this will save Nairobi, but then he goes back and said Sakaja should be impeached because of signing the deal. So, second time lucky, they asked. President Ruto and Raila Odinga rescued him from ouster last year. Raila Odinga is no longer with us. Will the president save him this time round? You remember they had to invite MCAs to their respective offices, ODM MCAs and UD MCAs, to tell them, no, you will not impeach him. Sahi wamesema, he must go. There's an interesting story about CJ Martha Kome's book, Quoting Courage, and where she talks about the day Ida Odinga asked me to save Raila from Moi detention horror. These two have an interesting relationship. I think Ida Odinga was a teacher at Kenya High School when CJ Martha Kome was a student there.
Oh, wow.
So they do have a relationship there. Other stories given prominence on the front page: rogue police linked to crime. We've been talking about that. Vitamin A shortage puts children at risk of deadly infections. That's a story on page 8. Na pale juu, mulifikiria ni watu wachache. According to the NIS, 1,000 Kenyans are actually fighting in the Russian war. Yeah, versus Ukraine.
Yeah.
We thought it's a few people. It's over 1,000 people.
No, unknowingly.
No, some of them knowingly.
Yeah.
Some of them retired or were previously military officers in Kenya. They're actually opting to go to Russia to fight.
Lakini kuna wale wajui, wanajipata tu.
Kuna wengine wameenda huko kufanya kazi zingine, alafu unajipata huko vitani.
All right, let's take a look at the Taifa Leo now. Uhuru wapanua kikosi ni habari katika ukurasa wa pili. Wanasema kiongozi wa chama cha Jubilee, Rais mstaafu Uhuru Kenyatta, ameanza kupanua mabawa ya chama hicho kukiandaa kwa uchaguzi mkuu wa mwaka ujao, katika mkakati ambao haukutarajiwa hapo jana. Chama hicho kilitangaza kuwa kitashirikiana na chama cha PNU, hatua inayotafsiriwa kama mbinu ya kuimarisha fursa ya mazungumzo ya mgombea urais wake Daktari Fred Matiang'i na vyama vingine vikuu vya upinzani kuelekea mwaka ujao. Wadadisi wataja hatua ya PNU kuunga Matiang'i kama ya kimkakati kumwekeza katika muungano wa upinzani. Vidokezo zaidi: ukuta mpaka na Somalia ulivyokwama, mradi pia ulikumbwa na shida za ufadhili na vilevile shida za malipo ya wafanyikazi wa NYS na zogo la kidiplomasia. Hofu Kenya kukosa virutubisho ni habari tumezungumzia katika ukurasa wa mbele wa Daily Nation. Ni habari about vitamin A. Mashujaa Zimbabwe wapinga rais kule, wapiganiaji uhuru kotini kupinga hatua ya rais kujiongeza muda wa kuhudumu.
Aliongeza, he just simply extended his term through the cabinet.
Oh, wow.
Sema now it's 7 years. Mulikuwa unafikiria ni 5? Pole, it's 7.
Kule juu, bodaboda waua polisi na majambazi. Ni habari katika ukurasa wa pili. Masuala ya spoti pia, Real na PSG wang'aa gozi la UEFA. Taifa Leo. Na
hiyo ndio habari kuu kwenye ukurasa wa mwisho wa gazeti la Taifa Leo. Leo tuko na physical copy.
Oh, wow.
Pia kule nyuma, kikosi cha riadha za dunia za ukumbini kutajwa hivi karibuni. Gazeti la Taifa Leo. From Taifa Leo, let's take a look at something else. This is the Star. He still talks about the kind of politics in the opposition. Kalonzo allies claim Matiang'i is a mole in united opposition ranks. They're not trusting him, and now you see what Jubilee has done by incorporating PNU and claiming that even PNU, not claiming, and now that PNU is supporting Matiang'i as a candidate for the opposition, presidential candidate. Now, clearly this will foment some mistrust within the united opposition. Mistrust, personal ambitions at the heart of the dispute. Because Kalonzo Musyoka, many allies of Kalonzo Musyoka believe that he's the best suited candidate for the united opposition. But Matiang'i, now you're seeing other parties insisting that he too should be at the forefront. Remember, they were to go for a 2-day retreat to get a presidential candidate. They postponed it because of these same problems. They have no clue how to go about it. So this is going to be a problem. Meanwhile, wakiendelea hapa kuzunguka, ni funa si funa.
Moto
Sisi
inaendelea
ndio
kuwaka.
Sifuna. Ehe. Another story given prominence here, self-denial reflection as Catholics mark Lent. And they have a picture there of the fourth president, Uhuru Kenyatta, joining Catholic worshippers at St. Francis of Assisi Catholic Church in Nyali, Mombasa, to mark Ash Wednesday yesterday at the beginning of Lent. I saw many more photos of the former president. And you see the way such leaders get into church and go to the front seat. He actually was uko nyuma, among the last rows, just like any other person. Even the bodyguards were not visible. I'm sure they were there, but they were not visible. And then he knelt down there, uko nyuma tu, just like any other person. And hata waliompiga picha, yeye hakujua anapigwa picha.
Oh, wow.
Ash Wednesday. Do you believe he's that humble?
He is. Kuna evidence kwa karatasi. Not even that one.
But he does that.
Yes.
It's not the first time. I've seen him even with the former first lady going to church, but then sitting in the back rows.
So umesema wengine could never.
Wengine politicians wa hii mwaka wanakuja straight huko mbele mpaka wanaambua pana hiyo ni kiti ya kwaya.
Reminds me of that person who said takataka. Pelekea whoever.
Hiyo anakuja hapo mbele alafu anaambia pana hapa ni kwaya na pastor akitoka huko anafaa kiti hapa, so songa nyuma kidogo. You know, there's a word in the Bible that talks about that. Ukijipendekeza kule mbele, alafu unaambiwa songa nyuma. All right. Other stories here, we have Ruto-Sakaja defend 80 billion Nairobi pact amid storm. Yes, there's a raging storm over this, and it's part of our discussions this morning. And a picture there of the president and the Nairobi city governor at the completed trunk sewer line in Lakisama. So these projects are already underway. Yeah. Kazi ishaanza, hiyo cooperation. Meanwhile, they said public participation should happen within the next 14 days. But kazi ishaanza. So your public participation ni kazi gani? Rainfall to continue into next week in a few places. That's a report by the weatherman. The rains will continue in many parts of the country into next week, acting while northern Kenya remains dry. This is according to the meteorological acting director, Edward Murioki. He says the rains are concentrated in the southern region. They will extend to central, western and southern parts of the Rift Valley. So kama kwenyu kuna mvua, do expect itaendelea mpaka next week. Lakini kama hakuna, hata hiyo jua itaendelea. Kule juu, MPs reject total ban on TikTok, demand data housed locally. And they waweze to pull down those videos. They want that data to be present in Kenya, which I think is okay, because some of the content on TikTok sometimes can go overboard. And we need to have ways to contain it. And that's the Star today. I don't know if we have the inside pages of this paper. Yes, we do have. It would be important to take a look at what else is inside there.
Ama tuendelee People Daily as you wait.
Tushafungua. Rainfall ndio hiyo. Madhare, kuna Jubilee, wamekuja pale, hakuna kitu ingine. But you can grab yourself a copy of this paper, fresh, independent, different. It's only 60 bob in Kenya. All
right, People Daily, Ruto's script for 2027 amid return of populist politics. The People Daily, they ask, man of the people, is he? Tuambie. But now he has been caricatured here in navigating some waters. See, there's SHA, there's affordable housing, there's Nyota Fund, there's Hustler Fund, but then there's a will, one term.
One term.
Will he succeed? That's the People Daily. This story is on page 4. Why has Gachagua avoided Muminji and Eburore wards mini polls? It's an analysis on page 3. The Gusii community's growing push for political influence is another story on page 3 as well. And that's the People Daily. All
right, we finish up with the Business Daily. Nyota startups face collapse with 1 billion shilling. At least 1.06 billion disbursed to startups under the World Bank-backed National Youth Opportunity Towards Advancement, also known as Nyota program, looks set to get lost amid forecasts that a fifth of the enterprises will fail. So state expects 20% of businesses to fail. 5.28 billion shilling is what was set aside. So some may succeed, but quite a number will fail. Kenya offers to buy back 64 billion shillings Eurobonds is another story there. A picture of a Catholic faithful observing Ash Wednesday is also there on the front page. I think there's a lot of business around Ramadan and the period of Lent as well. So that's why it's on the front page of the Business Daily. On the ticker, China floods Kenya with 671 billion goods ahead of trade deal. Bank card payments rise to close to 300 billion on merchants' uptake. And stamp duty hits low-value stock market transactions. And that's the Business Daily.
All right. Let's take a look at the cartoons now.
All right, to start off with a cartoon on the Daily Nation today, and we do have two frames here. One with the police bosses, the DCI boss, a caricature of the DCI boss, the police IG, and the CS of Interior. Wanasema these tactics were once used on us. They're looking at a table. Kuna ile rungu inakuanga na miiba. Wanasema they were once used on us. And then the second frame, kuna United Opposition wanasema we once used those tactics. That's a cartoon on the Nation.
The Standard, there's a play of cards here between Kindiki and Oburu, side by side. The commentator is saying, nobody knows it but him. Knows ya mapua.
In masuala ya who's to take over.
Deputy President.
Deputy President position, still a bone of contention. People Daily, Stanley Stake. Sifuna here, a caricature of Sifuna on a chessboard with the president playing chess. Na kuna ile ballot box hapo ya 2027. Hapo kwa alafu Sifuna anasema mimi ndiye Sifuna, mimi ndiye Sifuna.
Me.
But the president is thinking how to handle Sifuna. 1, arrest him. 2, abduction. 3, send KRA. 4, buy him. 5, make him DP. Even him, okay. 6, withdraw his security. 7, impeachment. Which method will work?
All right, finally, the Star. Bado Sifuna. Mimi ndio Sifuna, and I don't approve of what? Of that cooperation between the Nairobi County government and the national government. Lakini Mike Sonko has suffered in the hands of cartoonists this week.
Zile, I've been there. Lakini najua amewekwa tu pale and this entire week. He's just there in the background. It's happened to him before.
As a shadow.
He understands what it means.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
That's about it. Let's come back and take a look at the traffic situation.
All right, the traffic situation this morning, it's exactly 1:30, and you can see the Pangani interchange is already building up. And it's stretching as far back as the Utali Drift, but sio mbaya sana. It's also moved slightly inside Kiambu Road, pale Muthaiga Golf Club. That means people coming from Kiambu, traffic itaanza mwanzo huku chini kwa ile lift kidogo. So you do expect if you're coming from Thika Road or Kiambu Road, you will spend some time there. We go further north of Thika Road, and there's another stretch of red pale between KCA University and Pale Survey. A stretch of red pale, but mostly on the service lane. On the main highway, it is a long stretch of yellow, meaning it's moving at least, not so bad. Let's go further up Thika Road. Tuone kama kuna shida nyingine. Pale Garden City, usually there's a problem. Not happening today. Today it's not so bad. This is ile area inaitwa Ruaraka. Kuna mambo mingi sana happen hapa, including ile kinywaji. Outer Ring Road is also getting busy, but it's moving around areas around Kiamaiko, heading towards Allsops. Further down on Outer Ring Road, let's take a look at the other side, areas like Fedha and Tasia. Tukiendelea tu kule chini tuone ni kama a bit of traffic, but on the opposite side of the road, heading towards the airport. In ile barabara ya Kariobangi pale, because if you are told you want to go to Umoja and you're coming from Allsops, lazima uingie service lane ndo usonge kama unataka kuingia Kangundo Road. Kangundo Road is not looking so bad today. Pale Umoja Market and even the stretches of red that are usual there, not a problem. Jogoo Road, it's building up. You can see this long stretch of yellow coming from Manyanja all the way to Makadara. Hapa matatu zimejaa kwa sasa. And then that yellow extends all the way to Shauri Moyo. So Jogoo Road quite busy this morning. If you at all you're using it and you can't avoid it, pole sana kwako. Once you get into town, areas around Haile Selassie Avenue are also building up. Let's go to Mombasa Road. And this is the interchange pale Ole Sereni. It's looking green on all these roads here. Hata ile Mombasa Road ya chini iko sawa, sio mbaya sana. So all the way from Ole Sereni into town, it's looking green. Hata ukiingia Likoni Road ukitaka kwenda upande industrial area, not so bad as well. Further south on Mombasa Road, it's looking green on the expressway. Areas around Enterprise Road. A long stretch of yellow on Mombasa Road coming all the way from Utawala Imara Daima, all the way to Vision Plaza there. But it's a busy, on Mombasa Road, expressway is much easier. All right, the other side of town, the Southern Bypass is looking green all the way. Nothing to report from there. Let's take a look, let's go further north and take a look at Gitaru, coming all the way past, that's not Ngong Road, hiyo ni mambo ingine. Umeenda Kenyanjui, this is Naivasha Road. It's getting busy kidogo maeneo ya Kawangware kule. So not so bad. I'm looking at Waiyaki Way all the way from Gitaru. ABC Place into town is also green today. So apart from Pale Pangani Interchange, everything else is good this morning. Perfect Thursday traffic.
All right, good morning, Kenya. We see you. I'm a Sonderi Ogembo Kegosi Kisi watching TV47. Thank you so much. Jacob Singlegle B. Anangwe watching live from Nyari Estate, Barrier 3, Nairobi County. Stephen Kosira watching the show from the great county of Narok. Good morning, everyone in the house. Good morning to you, Stephen.
Lameki Bakari says, Karen pamoja sana. Asante sana Bakari. And Benson Momo says, good morning. Good morning to you too, Benson. Keep watching. Remember that
more?
you can interact with us.
There's more?
There's more?
There's more. Wanjohi P. Mugambi, good morning. Say hello to Wambugu Yusuf Malenga. Joan Shekigwa Mamtaraji, good morning. Pamoja sana Thika. Nicholas Otieno Nyakwaraliwa anasema good morning.
Daniel Chasoli says, watching live Malava Cabras. John Malo, Mukuyuni Farm. I know where Mukuyuni is. Maeneo ya Kamukuyu huko. Sihendu Ward, Trans Nzoia County, tuko pamoja. Abdallah Ndambo says, following the show from Uganda. Pamoja hadi mwisho.
Wonderful.
Uganda.
Yes.
Keep watching. Remember, you can interact with us through our social media pages on X, TV47 Digital, on Facebook, and on YouTube. It is TV47 Kenya. Make sure you use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. You can tag Ann.
Yes.
At underscore. And at Fred in the Moody. See you after the break.
All right.
Good morning. Karibu sana. Right, welcome back. Good morning once again. This is the Morning Cafe on TV47. My name is Freddie Ndimuli. Time for us to take a look at the headlines. And of course, the big discussion is on Nairobi, the city county of Nairobi, with that cooperation deal that Governor Ruto-Sakaja signed with the national government. The question is it a hostile takeover of the county, or should we take it at face value and say it is cooperation? And that's the discussion we're having this morning. With us this morning, we're privileged to have Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui. Karibu sana Wakili. It's good to have you here. And of course, you'll be giving us some of the legal understanding of this issue. Of course, the transfer of functions between the two levels of government is provided for in Article 187 of the Constitution. There's also the provisions in the Urban and Cities Act of Cooperation. But what exactly is happening here? Have we been here before? Because the insistence is that it doesn't look, it is not what it looks like. Rachel Omolo also joins us this morning. Rachel is a public policy and governance expert. Karibu sana. And Mwalimu Wilson Sosion is back on the panel. Karibu sana Mwalimu. He's a veteran unionist, educationist, and also a former member of the National Assembly. Karibu sana Bwana Sosion.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you. Yes. So what exactly is this, Wakili? Is this because we've been told it is not NMS, we've not transferred any functions, but definitely they signed, and the national government, or at least a layer of administration headed by the national government, is taking over some functions of the county government?
Thank you very much. Good morning to your viewers. Very unfortunately, whichever angle you look at it, semantics aside, this is a takeover. So they don't want to go the NMS style because of the unpopularity of the NMS and what were the legal pitfalls that bedeviled the NMS. The NMS was populated by persons who are in the military, who never should have been actually in that civilian position, absent the National Assembly's approval. That was never secured. That was never obtained. So I think in a sense, the president, keen on replicating what was, in my view, the financial loopholes of the NMS. And the NMS was unaccountable. You never heard of the body summoning in the county assembly for purposes of accountability. In fact, when we filed a court case, the president then, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, was very keen on that case being withdrawn because we were showing and demonstrating. And the court gave a conservatory order. And the president then was very wroth that we withheld 27.5 billion shillings through the NMS, because there was no such provisions in the Public Finance Management Act or the Constitution or otherwise that you could siphon monies apportioned to the county government to the NMS. Now, you have a similar intent, and I have to emphasize, the intent is to siphon off money without accountability, 80 billion to be specific. And you have a president who tells you, you know, I have this idea of lighting up the urban areas, the city of Nairobi, and I'm going to have 40,000 of those new lampposts for you. No. Let him be honest. This is a business enterprise for him, number one. Number two, he wants to satisfy and meet the goals and obligations of his puppet masters. What do I mean? His puppet masters want a surveillance state, a police state, as it were. And they need, for them, and if you remember, they amended the law so that they can surveil, including your phone. So they need these lights, street lights. Let no Nairobian be deceived that the government is so keen, that the president is so keen on lighting up your dark areas at night. No, what he wants is surveillance instruments. By means of that light, you have a surveillance edifice. The moment your car passes there, it is somehow, and you know, today you have your vehicles that are, digitized. Your cell phone, including you as a person, because everybody who was jabbed with the COVID-19 vaccine, quote unquote. No. Seriously, they have a MAC address. Take it or leave it.
It sounds more like a conspiracy theory.
No.
You put it that way.
No. You just go to Langara Cemetery. You put on your low Bluetooth, device on the Bluetooth. It will detect everybody who's there, lying in the grave. You will see the MAC address. It will pop up in your phone. What am I saying? The so-called cooperation agreement, let's be clear. Section 6 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act does provide for that cooperation. Yes, granted. But at the same time, if you look at Section 3(1)(c) of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, it says that public participation is mandatory. And in fact, that act in itself, which was enacted in the year 2011 and came into force in 2012, does provide in a very elaborate way public participation in governance in these areas. So at the outset, let me be very clear. This is an illegal document. But when you study and you look at it, the Intergovernmental Cooperation entity is supposed to have been consulted. It's supposed to have inputted. The Urban Areas and Cities Act envisages in Section 13 and Section 14 the governance structure of the Nairobi City County falling under the board. You have to have a county manager. That was, in law, in my humble view, the person envisaged to sit with the president. Now, you have on the flip side of the government, and that I don't know who drew that agreement. I mean, you have a successor of the government. It's incredible.
Should we expect people to go to court on this? Because,
absolutely.
Okay, fine.
They're already gone.
Public participation after the fact, 14 days?
That's what they say. That's what they say. Now, the agreement, if you look at it, so-called, consensus that they have. What is the role of this Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Musalia, with tremendous respect to him, just to append a signature? The Urban Areas and Cities Act does not envisage him as a person who is supposed to implement any aspect thereunder. So this agreement, coming back to your question, this agreement, as it were, is intended for the takeover of Ruto's government of Nairobi City County heading on towards the elections, NMS style, so that then he does two things, in my humble view. A, entrenches himself. B, is able to get a platform to siphon off the 80 billion. This is just another stealing spree, if I was allowed to say that. Let me conclude by saying, the problem with our county assemblies is that they have been so very slow to bring these sort of actions to account. Now I am seeing that they want to impeach the governor. That, in my humble view, is okay, but the primary move they should be having right now, as we speak, is to bring that document on the table as a matter of emergency and in the interest of Nairobi people and say that, look, we will not even engage in this railroaded. It's a 14-day period the Ruto government is giving the Nairobi people. Oh, ye Nairobi people, we've given you 14 days.
After we've already signed that.
After we've already signed that.
Rachel,
really?
ODM controlled county assembly now says they will impeach Governor Sakaja. It's clear that even the county assembly was not involved in this deal. Neither was the Senate. Let's listen to what the county, or different people have said about what is happening with this debate.
Functions bestowed upon the county government of Nairobi by the Constitution will remain county functions. We shall not transfer. We shall not transfer any functions.
Nairobi lazima ibadilike, iwe na standard ya juu, ndio tushinde zile zingine. Munataka Addis Ababa itushinde? Munataka Lusaka itushinde?
Tulimuona watu wameanza porojo. Mimi sijapeana mamlaka yoyote kwingine. Mimi nashirikiana na rais. Tushirikiane ama tuachane?
Mimi nataka niwaambie watu wa Nairobi, mkiona wale watu wengine wanakaribia jiji na wana maono, muambie warudi nyumbani.
Yeah. So now they want to impeach him. Do you think they're right in this? Last year, the same assembly wanted to impeach this governor because of what they called incompetence. Now, months later, do they have a proper reason now to impeach the governor?
Thank you, and we greet all our viewers wherever they are. I think if you look at what has happened with the transfer of functions from the Nairobi County government.
They're insisting it's not a transfer of functions.
It is a transfer of functions, and I think that is it's not prohibited by the Constitution, neither is it prohibited by the Urban Areas and Cities Act. So to that extent, he is within the law to transfer some of the functions. But coming to your question, whether there are merits to the impeachment of Governor Sakaja, I think he's displayed his incompetency by saying, I'm unable to handle ABCD. Actually, I think there are about 10 areas that he's unable to do, and hence he's seeking for support from the national government. To that extent, then they are okay to say you are unable to perform your functions and therefore we can impeach you. But saying it is not allowed within the law, it is allowed within the law. Even to an extent that the resources are located, and I think Wakil is here and looking at Article 187, all these things that Wakil is saying are there in the Constitution. They're allowed. But only one constitutional procedure was not adhered to, and that is public participation. Yes. And that brings the whole thing null and void. Otherwise, I think if you look at that particular article, it is allowed and he's within his right as a governor to say, I'm unable to do ABCD. And because we are in the bigger agenda of ensuring that our people or the constituents of Nairobi County gets value for their money, are able to access the services that they elected us for, then he's able to do that. And it is allowed for him to say, I'm unable and people need services. And therefore, let me seek for help.
And admit failure.
And admit failure.
This is the second
publicly.
time it's happening in this county. Are we saying that probably Nairobi is a special county and probably the consideration for this in as far as management should be different? That probably this was designed to fail from the word go?
It wasn't designed to fail. Unfortunately, let me look at it with a leadership lens, that it is our failure as voters to pick good leaders. We don't just pick because now the most popular party has brought in Rachel as a candidate. So let us vet our leaders. And I hope this is a wake-up call to all of us, because this is not just isolated in Nairobi. We look at other counties. They may not have ceded some of their functions to the national government, but then they are equally unable to perform their functions. So I think it's a wake-up call to us as Kenyans, that can we elect leaders who know why they are pushing themselves into these public offices. Let us not just elect leaders because they're in most popular parties within that particular area. I think to this, the Nairobi County Assembly, they are right to say, if the governor is unable to function or to perform his functions, then we are right to get someone else who can do that. Yes. But then again, the governor never even consulted the assembly in the first place and say, I think that where we are now... They are
justified in feeling that aggrieved,
yes,
that you did not even talk to us.
I think because it is in our interest as a county assembly or the county government of Nairobi that we give value for money to our citizens or to our electorate. But then, what do? I'm unable to do ABCD because I don't think if some of these things that Sakaja highlighted, like street lighting, he's unable to do those things. I don't think that is something that you need to take back to the solid waste management. I don't think if those are issues that you really need to take back to national government to help you manage.
Yeah.
I think it's entirely admission of failure on his part.
Mwalimu Sosion, of course, it is provided for, and Wakili here has quoted parts of the Constitution, the Urban Areas and Cities Act. It is provided for cooperation, even transfer of functions. But there are those who argue that this is a clawback on devolution, that if we get to a point where we feel that the county governments are not even able to handle the few functions that they were given, and now they are taking them back to the national government for whatever reason, that's a clawback 15 years later.
Yeah, I think we've got to be very fair in our arguments and in looking at how this agreement was arrived at and the strong aspects of it, rather than engaging in a conundrum of negative views on the agreement that has been signed between the national government and the county government of Nairobi. It was a mistake in the first place to classify very sensitive regions of these countries as counties and govern them the same way like other counties, particularly cities. Cities are very exceptional, even all world over, and with a different format of governance structure that is so strong. And then when you come to Nairobi as a county, as a city, it is a major global communication hub and a major destination and a major transit entry to many parts of Africa. So to me, some of the functions that will be executed by the national government are meant to facelift Nairobi and to protect the people of the city of Nairobi. When you talk of infrastructure such as the sewerage system, we still have a sewerage infrastructure that was meant for a population of many years back. It needs to be upgraded. The road infrastructure system, the lighting. If you are going to be recorded within the lighting system, do we want to operate in Nairobi in darkness where you cannot monitor whatever is happening? It's good. If
surveillance is good?
Yes.
Surveillance is good?
Yeah, surveillance for security reasons is good.
The invasion of your privacy?
Done all over. And surveillance for security reasons is a good thing. What is wrong with that? If you are not executing any crime, and I'm sure the open street is not a bedroom. If you want to do some privacy, go to your bedroom in your house. But I think fundamentally, the philosophy of national government playing a major role in undertaking major infrastructure upgrades.
You don't see that as failure of devolution, that some counties are unable to do this?
Talk of sewerage system, solid waste management in the city. You know, Fred, the city is so dirty, and we're arguing that we should
the argument is
under a governance.
The argument is if we can be able to source 80 billion shillings to sort out these problems, shouldn't those funds be channeled through the county administration to do the same work? By a county government saying, okay, fine, even if the money is there, please, the national government should do this, isn't that a failure of devolution? And that was my question.
Now if you look at devolution right across the board, the other day we've seen governors refusing to appear at the Senate to answer queries of the Comptroller and Auditor General. Those are not questions of senators. They are questions of Comptroller and Auditor General. We all live in this country. We know the breakdown of devolution, and it may not, it's not delivering as it should have been. And
but is the solution taking it back to the national government? Because, Wakili, should the solution be taking it back to the national government? When Association says we are more or less failed on devolution, let's move on.
But Fred,
I'm also surprised.
But Fred,
I'm also surprised when he says, really, I mean, your data should be harvested through these surveillance systems. No, they're not just quote unquote looking at you whenever you pass a street light. And let's get it very clear. There is in the UK right now, after every other, few meters, a surveillance camera. Now, the UK people have said that, look, you cannot invade my privacy in that way, harvesting my data, selling it off to advertisers who then pay you, and I see on my cell phone pop-ups that I need to get. How do they know that I actually buy this product in my house? So this is a problem with our education. And he was in education, such that the African has been brainwashed into just seeing the cell phone, that, this is just a cell phone. And the cell phone is just out there for me to communicate. Whereas the operator of that system in that cell phone has incorporated a backdoor by means of which they can harvest your data. But the African is just told that this is your cell phone, and that's it. He doesn't see that behind that harvesting of data is the financial aspect of it. And you are actually being recolonized. So the East Indian company that was then used for the purposes of colonization has now mutated to this platform. And so when you hear that sort of idea, you have to question, where has our education taken us? Are we not able to decode and decipher the means by which we are enslaved? Coming back to the issue, I am surprised. So Sion can say that, it was a mistake for us to have the cities. It should have been governed separately and not as county governments. But it is in the Urban Areas and Cities Act. It is provided provided for in black and white. In fact, it says, bearing in mind that Nairobi is the capital center, it is there in the Urban Areas Urban Areas and Cities Act, provided for, and that's legislation we've had since 2012. Now, what has happened is that governors in the cities that have been erected have been very reluctant to put into effect that particular act because it takes away from them the control and the management of the resources, because the Urban Areas and Cities Act, as I say, section 13 and 14, places the governance of a city in a board. Having said that, this particular sort of agreement, you see, is a mongrel agreement. They say that, oh, you know, we're invoking section 23, subsection 1 of the Intergovernmental Relations Act. But what does that provision say? That provision says that a committee shall be formed between these county government under the Urban Areas and Cities Act and the government. But you have two committees. And so it's completely outside the law. And I'm sure the court is going to quash this nonsensical agreement. What do I mean? You hear them say that, oh, there's going to be a steering committee, which is headed by Musalia Mudavadi. Where do you locate that? In what law? Who's advising these people? And then they say that there is an implementation committee. And then they open wide the door for everybody there that they can co-opt and bring in to siphon off the money. The same way that the president uses consultants, you know, to siphon off money. And you hear the budget that we had allocated, 4 billion has been expended by State House. So the issue of governance of an urban areas cannot be, in my humble view, just heaped on the governor. You have failed. Because this governor should have gone with a slew of concerns to the county assembly and say that, look, I tabled this before you, honorable members of the Nairobi City County.
What do you think we should do?
What do you think you should do? Now, then he's able to tell them, I have a proposition that under section 23, subsection 1 of the Intergovernmental Relations Act, I am entitled to co-opt the national government by way of a committee, suggest the people from every ward that we will have, so that we can deal with the issue of garbage, the issue of street lighting, the issue of the development of the pathways. Can you imagine that Ruto wants to make a pathway in Huruma? He wants to make a pathway.
Or even collect garbage.
Or even collect garbage. Yeah. But the point is now, this governor, having failed then, he's now telling the Nairobi people that, look, I'm going to come and consult you about this agreement that I already signed. I mean, anakubeba utoto kabisa. With respect, I mean, look, this is horrible. This is horrible.
Hold it, Rachel, I know you want to contribute to this, but I want to see or hear what the people have to say. What are you saying? What do you think about this deal between the government, the national government and the county government of Nairobi? And
all right, the conversation is heated there, Fred. Let's see what the people are saying with regard to that collaboration between the county government and, of course, the national government. Joel Mbuthi, kuna watu wanakufa njaa, kwa nini usiingilie hiyo wanakufa? Jason the brother, kwani kuwasaidia inahitaji signing of agreements? Joseph Madhenge, we have 47 counties. Why Nairobi? David Sonma, Uhuru did it, but he was on the first line to oppose him. Everything Uhuru did, he's doing the same. So Uhuru was right. Washira Steven, mbona wasirushiwe tear gas hata wao? What is he doing on that roof? Joshua Choki says, still the county can work with government without signing any agreement. Cheriot Ngetich Emmanuel, why courts in any step by the national government? Some of issues needs to be dictated. Historian Alex says these court actions are meant to slow down the workings of the Ruto administration by taking a year off. Peter Hamusali Ngosi, kurudisha watu nyuma. This going to court ni pesa ya mama yenu or what to you? All right, these are some of the feedback, what people are saying here. The question of why Nairobi has also come up, Fred. We have 47 counties. The people want to know, why is Nairobi so important?
All right. Thank you, Anne, for that. Rachel, definitely a clawback on devolution, if at all, because according to even the former Prime Minister, the late Raila Amolo Odinga, counties should be taking up more functions. In fact, he was proposing that education should be a fully devolved function. But now we are seeing that some counties are unable to even handle the little that they've already been given. Garbage collection, surely. Don't you think that this, 15 years later, we're just saying, okay, fine, devolution was not really a good plan?
I don't think if we would go that direction of saying it's not a good plan just because pockets of leaders are unable to perform their functions. But why I was laughing when my brother here, Kinyanjui, was talking, I know he was very instrumental during Uhuru's regime or leadership. And I don't remember him coming out and fighting NMS.
No. Let me be clear. I filed the court case. The case went before the Honorable Justice Mrima. He froze that NMS nonsense. He froze. I was hunted like a deer. Honestly, that I should withdraw that case. I declined and I refused. That case was taken forcibly from me. And the lawyer who took it, within a space of 10 minutes, he had withdrawn it.
Oh, it was taken from you and immediately withdrawn?
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody who wants the evidence, the court records are there.
Okay.
I was at the forefront saying that this is these are shenanigans we should not allow in our country. And but moreover, just to answer you, to extricate myself from the trap in which you have thrown me into, without giving me the benefit of the doubt. Look, I was able to ask the MCAs, you are the one supposed to control the finances of Nairobi City County, not the NMS. Did I get support?
All right.
We didn't hear you push so much.
It was in the public domain.
Okay.
Maybe you're the one who never read it.
I never saw that, but I knew for sure you are very close with the former president. That was just a by the way. But then when you look at this whole governance dynamics that is now being brought with this new collaboration or partnership agreement, I think fair enough, it is anchored on law. So we can't say that in its entirety it's a bad thing. Let's all agree. And again, to support my brother Susion, is that this is going to put Nairobi on a competitive globally map. That yes, their services are being rendered. Nairobi is now a clean city.
You're defending it?
No, I'm not defending. Let's call a spade what it is. We are all the whole idea of Sakaja seeking support from the president is for service delivery, to improve service delivery.
At least it's provided for in the law.
Yes, it's provided for. And if that can happen, then you and I would be happy to work in a cleaner Nairobi.
But it is
Whether
provided
that would
for
be done,
in instances of failure.
In instances of failure.
Yes.
That is also true.
But the failure has to be tabled before the county assembly.
I said that even in my initial remarks, that he did wrong by not even involving the county assembly. I had already said
so
that.
he pulled the cart before the horse.
Before the horse.
Yes.
Yes. And I think Sakaja chewed more than he could bite.
So it invalidates it.
Yes.
So there's nothing to be enforced.
Yes,
so,
I
think
no, just a second. It
okay,
is my
let her
time.
finish. Let her finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you had finished, actually.
No. So you had asked me something to do with devolution, and if we need to regret having pursued this path. If you look at...
Especially for Nairobi.
For Nairobi. I think largely it is about the leadership of Nairobi. It's got really nothing, because we have equalization fund. Nairobi gets money as municipalities. Yeah?
2 out of 3 governors have had to go back to State House.
It's all boils down to leadership. If you bring, some leaders that do not even merit being nursery school teachers, then you want them to lead Nairobi. They've never led anything. What do you expect? What sincerely do you expect? Tell me where Sakaja had worked before and say he managed this institution well, so we can...
But why is it not happening in Nakuru? Why is it not happening in Kisumu? Why is it not happening in Mombasa, especially?
Okay,
those are cities as well.
It is about leadership.
It is the last.
So they are better leaders. They are better leaders.
Absolutely, they are better leaders. We saw, after they impeached Sonko the other time, and then there's the lady who came in as a governor. We didn't see her being impeached. Why? She tried what she could. Kidero was there. No, Kidero was there. Kidero did what she could. But the bottom line is, let us elect leaders who merit the positions. Even today, there are those people who purport to say they want to be the president of this country. Can we look at them? Can we vet them? What is your leadership track? Don't just put people in leadership and then tomorrow you start, because you wanted a psychopath, then tomorrow you start blaming them for service delivery.
Simply because it's provided for in the law does not make it right. It is only in cases of failure that we actually come back to the law on this one.
That's a wrong approach to the whole of this debate. let us not reduce this debate to leaders and leadership.
But why not?
I don't think that is.
Isn't that the whole point?
I don't think that is a
governance?
fundamental philosophy. Let us not discuss the governance of Nairobi here. Let us not.
What else are we discussing, Bwana Sossion?
No. Let's discuss the agreement. And
the agreement is after the fact.
Fred, for me, I'll restrain myself.
But that is not my question.
I think he's afraid. I think he's afraid of being viewed and seen to attack the president.
I'm not afraid.
Bwana Sossion, I asked the questions. We are not discussing the deal or the good things that the deal could come up with. We're discussing what took us to that point. That 2 out of 3 governors in Nairobi. We've had Governor Kidero. He did not have to go back to State House to cede some functions. It happened with Governor Sonko.
But what happened?
It happened with Governor Sonko. It is now happening with Governor Sakaja. We agree that the quality of leadership in Nairobi seems to be taking us to that direction, however much it's provided for in the law. That's what we are discussing now.
These are my views. I think I'll restrain myself from looking at the failures and strength of leaders in the county government of Nairobi. I would look at the city very fundamentally as a critical destination that a lot has to be done, and county governments cannot do all that alone. If you look at the framework of the agreement, and of course when you talk of the county assembly members were not involved, they were all in State House witnessing the signing of the
agreement. How about
they were all
the enactment of it?
If you're an elected
framing of it,
if you're an elected leader and you know you are not part of that agreement, you cannot sit and preside over the signing.
They're now calling for his impeachment.
And I think, Fred, business cartels, it's about controlling money. It's about controlling business. And I think it is time we remove the operations of Nairobi County and even particularly the framework, the role that the national government will be playing. Let's remove it from business contestations and interest, which of course my learned
Should we totally rethink the governance of Nairobi?
No.
Remove it from the devolution structure?
This agreement was voluntarily signed and negotiated. I don't see what we are discussing here. And if it is about upgrading the infrastructure of the city, right from sewerage to water supply, lightings, roads. It is what the people of Nairobi need. We need to modernize the city. The population of the city has grown beyond. Even when you talk of schools, they're inadequate.
Hence my question.
Nairobi has become
removing Nairobi from the management as a county?
Nairobi has become a dungeon of suffering for the residents of Nairobi. And this urgent program that needs to be done cannot be postponed.
Have you read that agreement?
Cannot be postponed.
Should we rethink the management of Nairobi, remove it from the list of counties, and probably have a different structure?
Yes, we should.
But it's provided for.
We should.
It is provided for. He's unable to execute his mandate.
I can tell you, Fred, I've traveled all over the world and I've seen the structure of how cities are run. The management is completely different and the services are top-notch. That is what this agreement seeks to bring.
All right.
To ensure that you get into Nairobi complete with decent transport, both road, rail circuits, and
with
modern infrastructure.
Do you have the urban areas and cities?
Why are we arguing about
Before you do that,
we should take the management of Nairobi and the city
that is what
out of the control of business cartels.
Let me break it down for you.
All this is business.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Let him break it down.
Let's look at the provisions.
All this is business control.
Walimu.
It's not about making Nairobi.
What you're saying is in law.
So
we're looking at Section 13, Rachel. We're looking at Section 13 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act, and this is on boards of cities.
Yes.
A board of a city shall consist of not more than 11 members, 6 of whom shall be appointed through a competitive process by the County Executive Committee, with approval of the County Assembly. So,
the management, the running.
I wanted to tell him. Nairobi,
it's already provided for.
It's not being managed like the county. It's not being managed like Kericho.
But it's provided for already.
It's provided for.
And they have a board.
Which one?
They should have a board. So they have.
Excuse me? has it ever actually had the competitive? Who from
I
the
don't know
resident
who
association?
who appointed them, but I know Nairobi has.
No,
a
it doesn't
board.
have any board. The public service board is different from the management
that I know.
board.
That I know.
These under the Urban Areas and Cities Act has never been, because like I said, this governor and they who run the cities of Kisumu, Mombasa, and Nakuru want to still feel they have control. Now, Section 13 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act elaborately states who those 11 members should be, from the Law Society, from the professional bodies of the Architecture Association, the surveyors, and including now the people now who should be the professionals there. But these are the people who should be in that board, led by a county manager. Now, the county manager, under this act and under the Constitution, holds more power, as it were, than the governor. They don't want that. And that's why they have buried it.
All right.
You are breaking down for him.
Well, it's provided for in the law.
Yes.
Probably that is what, and you're saying, Wakili, that most of the cities have not.
Not most, all.
They've not effected.
They've not effected it. And then you hear lamentations. Oh, you know, our roads are not being constructed properly. Oh, we have garbage running about. Because the law is not being followed. The president never demanded and cannot demand. And I don't think, even in the wildest dreams of any Nairobian, will never demand that there be a county management board, because he will have no control. Right. And there are no these cartels. Yes,
instead
this is a
go
cloak.
for the shortcut.
Absolutely.
And go back to the national
And it's all illegal.
Instead of effecting what is provided for in the urban areas and cities.
You nailed it.
Okay. All right. So that's a big discussion on what's happening in Nairobi and whether or not it's right. Does it look like what they say it is? Does it mirror what happened with the NMS? The insistence by the governor is that no, the county is yet to cede any functions to the national government. Many people disagree. Who's fooling who? That's the front page of the Standard. And on the Daily Nation, they talk about the fact that MCAs of Nairobi County Assembly now want to impeach the governor of Nairobi based on this new development. Let's hold that discussion there. Of course, it is a discussion that will continue, and you can continue interacting with us on the same through our social media pages. Let's move to some politics now. And yesterday we saw the Jubilee Party, together with the PNU Party, now fully endorse Dr. Fred Matiang'i as their choice candidate for presidency come 2027. What does this mean for the united opposition? Let's listen to what happened yesterday.
Maybe you guys from the media, because you are serious guys, from the media, you should even organize a presidential debate for opposition candidates so that we come before the people of Kenya. What are we hiding? We are not looking for family leadership. We are looking for public leadership. The people of Kenya should be involved in the process all along.
I strongly believe that Matiang'i is being used by the system to bring confusion in the opposition. That's what I believe. Yeye mwenyewe kama sio hiyo, he must draw the line and go with the decision of the majority. Wala vile nimasikiza kila mtu anasema wanataka Kalonzo. Kila mtu anataka Kalonzo, anataka Kalonzo. Sasa wewe maneno scientific, sasa hizo ni vitu gani za kuletea?
Sisi kama Jubilee na PNU tumeshikana tukasema kiongozi wetu kwa hiyo kiti ni Matiang'i. Lakini process ikifika iseme sio yeye ni mwingine na iwe ni process ya uasi, tuko tayari kuunga hiyo mkono.
Yes, on the front page of the Star, Kalonzo allies claim Matiang'i is a mole in united opposition ranks. Mistrust, personal ambitions at the heart of the dispute. Now, looking at what we're seeing right now, because earlier this week we were meant to understand there was to be a 2-day retreat of the united opposition to try and figure out a way of how to get the ticket for the presidency come 2027. That has since been postponed because of apparent disagreements that they were not so sure how to go about it. Now we're seeing groupings coming together to claim that this is our choice candidate. What does it mean for the united opposition? Don't you think that what was already difficult is now even much more challenging?
I agree. I wholly agree. Number one, I think the role of the retired president in all these cannot be gainsaid. And in my humble view, he probably still feels that he should have some control over who becomes the president, mainly because of the economic interests that his family has spread across the country and outside this country. And therefore, the president's scenario does not favor the continuity, in my humble view, of his economic presence in the country. And therefore, he would want the succeeding government to be one that is friendly to his economic interests in the country. And that, in my humble view, is a very selfish approach. He does not consider, he never did consider the welfare of the Kenyan people. It was more about the economic, with tremendous respect.
So you see,
he can accuse me of being personal with him about that. That's not being personal. The only president that I perceive had the best interests of this country and actually did endeavor to execute that interests of the Kenyan people is Mwai Kibaki. These other presidents have always been selfish, and we have the most selfish president as of now, called President William Samoei Ruto. So, he is the most selfish, self-centered, self-seeking president, with tremendous respect to him. Whichever way he looks at it, it can be felt on the ground. The people do not resonate with him, and the present control of the opposition by Uhuru Kenyatta is geared towards entrenching his economic interests, his family's economic interests, and all the Kenyan people. Allow me to say this. He's having then said earlier on that we have Kalonzo because of Azimio, and Azimio is a conglomerate of political parties that were involved, then having raised an issue, how can you come and impose Kalonzo and all of that. And Matiang'i at that time, using his acolytes, went out there and started, saying, raising all manner of hell. Now that he's in Jubilee and he is endorsed and he is right there, in my humble view, the game plan, forgive me if I'm wrong and forgive me if you're offended by this, but I'm not going to make any apology for holding the opinion. Matiang'i and Ruto may end up Raila and Ruto style, 2027.
Wow.
2027.
So you agree with this headline?
I wholly agree.
Matiang'i is actually a mole in the United Opposition.
Matiang'i, first of all, after 2022, is offered a World Bank job. The same World Bank that is coming up with this Nyota nonsense. The same World Bank that is choking the infant who's being born this morning in Pumwani Hospital with a debt they will never pay in their lifetime. That is a colonial instrument. Matiang'i went to work for it. Matiang'i was there for 1-2 good years, and he does not tell us what it is that he went to do. In my humble view, he was being given a script. In my humble view, he is their puppet. This is the same entity that Kibaki extricated the Kenyan people from and told the Kenyan people, we do not need a penny from a colonizer in the name of a loan. You can do it yourself. And we saw it, and we saw it. Now, the present president goes and borrows Eurobond and whatever, and we are choking in debt. Okay. Matiang'i is there in the same entity that is lending us, quote unquote, these senseless, sort of reject funding and all of that, and we choke in debt.
Okay.
So he cannot, in my view, with tremendous respect to him and his supporters, he cannot ever leave this country from the yoke of debt under the World Bank. He is their puppet. He was a former employee. You don't buy the hand that feeds you. So this, what you're seeing about him being propped up and having that support, that opposition will be fragmented. But especially him saying, you members of the media, you call us. You call us for an interview, because he knows that he feels that he's going to, with tremendous respect to him, he's going to emerge the person that, they want and all of that. But let's not go into his history in the Uhuru government towards the twilight of that Uhuru government. There's a lot that we can say, and I don't want to be appearing to be personal against him. But the opposition has fragmented so far as
and you blame former President Uhuru Kenyatta for
100%.
That's not really coming out clearly, but yes, indeed, the former president, Rachel, has been in the headlines. And even people within UDA keep mentioning his name over and over. Of course, we know what he did with the apparent revival of Azimio, which caused a lot of, elicited a lot of reaction in the last 2-3 weeks. Now we are seeing that his party, the candidate within his party, Jubilee, is now being accused of this. Is that the story that's not being told? President Uhuru Kenyatta's hand in next year's election?
Of course, his hand is there. He interfered with the election for Azimio. He still would want to do the same. I do want to look at the former president entirely as an enemy of the current president. In my view, he's not. And he's just playing the gallery and making people believe that, no, I don't want this guy. In actual sense, this is the guy who's given him a job. Why can't he quit that first one? looking at it broadly, why don't you, if you really hate this person that much, that you would not even want to see him be the president even tomorrow, first quit the opportunity that he has given you and in the African Union. And then tell us now, with you and everything, I don't want to associate myself with your leadership, even to the global stage. Then that I would think that he means well, even to the opposition. Otherwise, I think it's just the same thing that is playing to the Kenyans to believe that he means well to the country, whereas he's like, know what, I want to plant my guy. I want to ensure again that the president gets his easy. Of course, people like us in ODM, that would be a good win for us. Mm-hmm. But then why play with the masses? If you mean that the president is not doing the right thing, that you keep telling us, no, this can never be your president, then why do you allow him to appoint you into an office and take that role? Mm-hmm. In as much as you're a Kenyan, there are other Kenyans who have served who can still pursue that cause, and they probably even do better than Uhuru Kenyatta would. So I don't want to look at it like Uhuru means well to the country, no.
All right. Yeah. If we may go by the same line of thinking that all this is simply machinations and the hand of the former president is indeed there. We've had even an aide to President William Ruto, Farouk Kibet, talking about Uhuru Kenyatta and saying that he's funding some of these movements. Are you left confused about the real intention of the former president? Because he's everywhere, and he's in Azimio, if he's funding the new movement, if he's the one causing disunity. Are we saying that he is probably the greatest factor when it comes to 2027 politics? Everyone is talking about him.
I think the games that Uhuru is playing, I can summarize, because many of us worked with him very closely, and we actually assisted him to be president when he was not even willing and ready to be one. And those who assisted him to be president ended up disagreeing with him because of himself. And even after retirement, he's still very bitter. He wants a president of his choice for the country. It's a very bad show for a retired president who ought to be a statesman and exercise a lot of restraint and not directly interfere with the operations of a sitting president in a manner that it can degenerate to bad relations in the country. I think Uhuru generally is a very vindictive person, and he has not left his disagreements with President Ruto right from when he was his own debut. But we all know, for Uhuru to be president in 2013, it was the greatest efforts of President William Ruto. For him to be re-elected in 2017, after the court nullified election of Uhuru Kenyatta, it was President William Ruto. But still all that, we see a man who is very ungrateful. We don't understand what he wants. And does he want to be a proxy president while retired? That would be wrong for this country. And so therefore, attempting to weave a team that he is himself is controlling for 2027 is not a good game.
But some people may argue that some of what, if at all these are his actions, this would play into William Ruto's hands. That probably some of the actions that Uhuru Kenyatta is accused of could actually favor William Ruto.
No, of course, we'll have to discuss very openly. We are all Kenyans, and we can see what somebody is doing. We can read somebody's intention, and this one we don't need to.
Wakili Fields is actually working with William Ruto.
It's not complicated matrix. That is his own interpretation. But I think
you don't agree.
We all agree with one thing, that Uhuru is playing a wrong card in the whole of this space. Let Matiang'i come and compete with all the rest, fairly and openly and squarely. And in any case, Kenyans have matured in terms of judgment and knowing what somebody wants. Why didn't Kenyans listen to Uhuru in 2022? They went ahead and elected President William Ruto democratically and freely. And they will still re-elect him in 2027.
Re-elect? Re-elect?
That will be the decision of Kenyans. No. And this is a culture that we shall have to set in this country.
Right.
That once you retire as a president, and that was the intention of the Constitution. You retire as a president, of course, your protected, you enjoy your privileges, but don't interfere with the operations of the president of the day.
It even happens definitely not on the front page. His image is, but it would appear that Uhuru Kenyatta is a man behind perhaps the biggest political machinations. 18 months to elections.
In the opposition.
All right, let's take a break. You're watching Morning Cafe. We'll be back to continue with more political discussions after the break. Nifuna Sifuna.
And our role is only to monitor its implementation. And we should not let the 10-point agenda pull us backwards. We are moving forward, forward ever, backward never. Forward ever, backward never. And we are not going to allow people to pull us backwards. Those who want to pull us backwards, we tell them Oh, no. Those who want to pull us backwards, we tell them what? No.
Yes, indeed. And that was intended for the group led by Edwin Sifuna, the SG of the ODM party, because they are seen as the people who are trying to pull ODM back from this cooperation with William Ruto. But this formation by Edwin Sifuna and like-minded politicians has really brought up a lot of discussion. We're still less than a week from what happened in Kitengela on Sunday. Very interesting crowd, let me call it interesting. Definitely has caused ripples across the political divide, and this is both with the current administration and even in the united opposition. What do you feel about this new movement, if I may call it that, that could potentially be a third force and appears to have the ability to excite the Gen Zs who are a bit quiet for about 2 years or so?
I think going by what IBC mentioned the other time, that they're recording very low uptake of of registration for voting. I don't think if that is a place where someone, any politician, would be comfortable. If there was once a crowd puller was BAMBA, if that would have made a leader a president, then BAMBA would have been there 5 times. So I don't think if that's something they should sit pretty. In my view, they should tell these Gen Zs they need to register as voters if they want to make any meaningful change in the governance of this country. If we look at what happened in Uganda, the other time in South Africa with Malembe, you cannot trust this kind of young people. That it's today they're with you. They were there with the former deputy president who was just impeached, and no one could even go to Central. Mm-hmm. And just a matter of time, emotions run dry, and then what next? They look for what again would excite them. So I think it's pretty too early for them to settle that we can be a third force, just because we are seeing a movement. And again, this will also be shaped with the NDC coming up on the 27th. So whether they attend it or not, that's something we are waiting to see. So if they're elected, because Sifuna himself has not said, I've left ODM. Bahu has not said, I've left ODM. So they're still pretending to be in ODM to pull the masses, including ODM supporters. So I think if they're bold enough, just like Baba, then let them get out of the ODM party, let them resign their positions in Bunge, and then let us see the real following of Sifuna, the real following of Team Orengo and the like. But I don't think if they should sit pretty and say, we are having masses behind us, so all these people can translate to votes. No, I don't.
What's your prediction? You think this excitement will fade away?
It definitely will. It definitely will. Maybe Sosian comes up with something that excites the Gen Zs. They will all go to Sosian. Something else will come up again. They will forget that there was a Sifuna. I mean, before Sifuna, there was Babu, right? Everyone was chanting Babu, Babu everywhere. And in fact, before we realized that there is even going to be a fallout between Babu and Sifuna, because they are both having a lot of ego. They both want people to follow them as individuals. And so I don't see this even lasting longer, given that with what we have seen in the country today, everyone follows you just because it's the hype of the moment, and then that fades away. They follow the current news again.
It's 18 months to the next election.
Yeah, it's pretty early. It's pretty early.
Do you have the same prediction that this excitement around the Sifuna will simply fade away soon enough?
No, I think we've got to be fair to our democracy. This is a country of free speech, and the right to participate in political activities is enshrined in Article 38. It is given to everyone. So I'm yet to understand the philosophy, the manifesto, and the leadership philosophy of Sifuna and group. And if it is going to convince Kenyans, then that is a different story. So I don't think I would wade into that space of...
They've already insisted that the main agenda is no re-election for William Ruto. That they are very clear about.
Of course, that is their thinking. It's the right to think that way. And it's the right of everyone to think the way they're thinking. He's not alone. Wakili is here, and there are many others who think as such. But you see, the ultimate decision of deciding who is the president of the Republic of Kenya rests with the voters and the people of Kenya on the ballot only in one day, on 10th of August. So they are free
If this
sell the
excitement,
agenda, but
if this excitement does not fade away,
I want to listen to a concrete agenda. I don't want to be dismissive. Give them time. Maybe they're still structuring their messaging, and let them bring that message. We look at it as Kenya.
If it does not fade away, if it does not fade away, this excitement, do you see it presenting a big problem to William Ruto? Because their insistence is they're against his re-election. They've not talked about anything else.
William Ruto is a very meticulous leader who is focused in delivering his agenda, and he has done it substantially well. He has communicated with Kenyans, and if the last by-elections was anything to go by, you can see his team of the broad-based alliance swept almost all the 7 parliamentary seats. So that means Kenyans are giving him a strong approval rating. The beauty about Kenyans is that you can say all manner of bad things about the president, but Kenyans are very fair in judgment. Kenyans are seeing a very devoted president for the first time, who is ready to wade into areas and policies that are transformative to the country that the previous presidents fear. And Kenyans are saying, yes, if we have somebody very bold who can wade into such areas and bring transformation, that is very important to the ordinary citizen, and which makes sense to the ordinary citizen, from health to education, to agriculture, to housing, and everything. So to me, they've not come up with any message around any of these issues other than
one term.
One term.
Okay. Wakili, the cartoon on the People Daily has a caricature of the president playing chess on a table, and I think Sifuna is one of the play items there. And it would appear, because Sifuna is just saying, Mimi ndiye Sifuna, but the president is thinking on how to handle Sifuna through different ways, through impeachment, making him deputy president, sending a KRA to him, abducting him or arresting him. It seems to suggest that Sifuna and his newfound movement would be more of a headache to President William Ruto than the other side of the opposition, probably because they appear to have the ability to attract the attention of this group that we call the Gen Z, probably. Do you agree that the bigger headache is for the president right now?
Yes, I do, of course. The bane of our political structure and the political class is intolerance. That intolerance blinds them to the potential that such arrangements or giving the space to the other person would afford to enrich our political spaces, and also the so-called democracy that we have, because we don't have democracy in this country being practiced, even as we speak. Although in paper, including in the Constitution, we should be having that as the political driver, but we do not have. Now, I'm surprised and shocked by even Honorable Oburu saying that the likes of Sifuna should be exiting. No, wait a minute. No. That cannot be coming from the leader of a political party, where you know, excuse me, and you recognize that a political party has a structures of governance, members, supporters, and benefactors. Now, the moment you tell someone that, look, I don't seem to like the way you proposition yourself to the Kenyan people, and they seem to be liking you, and therefore you should exit. Come on. Even if they cease to hold that political party position, they still are members. And this is what, if I'm not wrong, I heard Honorable Sifuna say. So even if you chase me, even if you want to strip me of my position, and I should, by way of a side wind, just say that, look, Sifuna, in my humble view, is very well determined to take this legal argument to its logical conclusion, possibly even to the Supreme Court, which I think the ODM mandarins and Ruto himself, they have not, and his advisors, we should probably go back to school and help him see a little bit more in terms of what hole he's digging himself into. It could be so protracted that by the time we get to 2027, Sifuna is still there. Now, I'm saying that because it has a flip side and a domino effect on both the opposition and his supporters. I beg to differ with my sister here, saying that, well, this is just like brush fire. This is grass, wind, fire. I think Sifuna is likely to burn longer, much longer, my sister, in the sense that, look, who is he appealing to? And you saw a crowd in Kitengela that was not bussed, not paid, not even induced or otherwise compelled to be there. Unlike in Ruto's State House or wherever Karachuonyo he has to go to, he has to have buses, and especially in central Kenya. He cannot gain the same sort of crowd that came in a voluntary fashion as Sifuna did. What does that tell you of the people who then, I don't want to say idolize him, but, you know, follow him to that extent? Because there's a vacuum, and this vacuum has been created by the person that Honorable Sossion wants to accord a further 5-year period, which that particular, crowd doesn't agree with. And because they are seeing Sifuna as articulating an aspect of their existence in the current scenario that the powers that be cannot and are not articulating, they will still follow him. They will still follow him. As long as the status quo that is obtaining in the economic sphere, the health sector, the education sector subsists, the only savior of Ruto against Sifuna is not to impeach him, is not to do what that cartoon is suggesting, send carry to him and do that. No. It is to change the economic, the social situation of the people following Sifuna. And even though they may not arm themselves with a vote, still their optics are out there that Ruto, you're on the losing end. Oburu and company, you're on the losing end.
Well,
and now, lastly, this Ruto camp and Oburu camp and company who are in Tononoka, in my humble view, have totally become blind to the demographic significance of the so-called Gen Z. Honestly, if for no other reason, for the optics, and the disaffiliation, the disengagement of the Gen Z from the Oburus and the Tananaka crowd should be alarming them. But it is not. Sadly, they are out there saying, we will spew you out.
It's not business as usual. All right, so the Sifuna team led by Sifuna and Babu Owino and others, including James Orengo, will be in Kakamega this Sunday. Wait and see how big that will turn out to be. For now, let's see what people have to say about this conversation. Anne?
All right, Sifuna is still a big conversation in the country. Let's see what the people are talking about. We have some videos. Let's have the videos.
Hello, Morning Cafe with Fred Indimuli and Anne Odida at TV47. My name is Anne Onyango and I'm watching from Nairobi, Kenya. So the question of today is why Sifuna? Mbona Sifuna? We love Sifuna as the Gen Zs because he's an embodiment of authentic leadership. We appreciate his commitment to social justice. He's youthful and vibrant, and that resonates with us, the Gen Zs. We appreciate his bold stance on issues, critical issues such as police brutality and government accountability through the oversight authorities at the Senate. We feel like he aligns with the Gen Z values of transparency and integrity. He is an embodiment of a new wave of leadership that prioritizes people over politics.
Hello, good morning. Morning Cafe with Fred Indimoli and Anne Odida at TV47. My name is Natasha and I'm watching live from Rai, Nairobi County. So my view on as Gen Zs or what you want in terms of leadership in regards to the current Edwin Sifuna saga. We want a leader who's accountable, who's transparent, a leader who's steadfast in articulating issues regarding our country, our society, and our communities. We have various institutions in the country where we want them being run and being led by leaders who know what they're doing, by leaders who are firm, by leaders who are strong, and leaders who really care about the livelihoods of the local Mwananchi and the Kenyans in general. Edwin Sifuna is a good pick regarding his strength, regarding his influence he has with the youth. He is a young leader who is conversant with what the youth are going through in terms of challenges, unemployment. So in him we trust, and we feel like he'll do and he will be able to give us what we want as Kenya and what we need as a country. Yeah, that's my take.
Good morning, Fred and Ann. Basilio here, tuned in from Kirinyaga. Mtu asikudanganye ati sijui Sifuna ni moto wa makaratasi. Hakuna. We are sifunated. We are one-terminated. Ukiangalia rally yenye ilikuwa Kitengela, ilikuwa imejaa Gen Zs. Why? Wakati wa maandamano, the likes of Sifuna, the likes of Bamuino, walisimama na sisi. Ulikuwa unasikia tu wakikondemn police wanawaambia mbona mnaua watu, mbona mnashoot watu. That is why pia sisi sasa ni tani yetu ya kusimama na Sifuna. Na whether Sifuna ako na ODM ama ayuko na ODM, we are sifunated. And by the way, ODM ishaenda na Sifuna. Hii yengine ya party leader wao anaitwa Ng'oo, hiyo ni makaratasi tu wako nayo. Waende huko wakacheze merry-go-round nayo. We are sifunated. Kenya ni home.
All right, Rachel, what do you think? Gen Zs wanataka Sifuna. What do you have to say about that?
No, it is their right. It's their democratic right to choose whichever leader they feel is good for them. I don't remember Sifuna saying he's going to vie for president, so that would mean Sifuna supporting whoever. So I don't know whether that somebody also is in the same space as energetic as Sifuna, is also a one-terminated as Sifuna, a sifunated like Sifuna. So I think that's a wait and see. But I think the Gen Zs are with Team Sifuna. Maybe they can resonate because of age factor. But I think let us look at more to do with what is it that they are bringing on the table. What is the agenda? Agenda cannot be one term. So after removing the president, then what next? Remember, we removed Moi. Then what next? We were like, we don't want Kibaki. What next? We've always not wanted the leader. So it is the what next that would matter and that would change their life. But as Gen Zs, you've spoken so well, and my wish to you is that you take up, you register as voters, because that is the only way you can change the country. Otherwise, doing videos, talking to us and coming to our rallies may not support much and change the country. We need you to take the bold action of choosing the leader whom you want. Whether you are sifunated or you are one-term or two-term, that is neither here nor there. But choose the leaders who will work for you. In 2022, remember, you are all following Dimple. And we saw that with Nairobi County. And everyone was speaking about Sakaja this, Sakaja that. I will vote Dimple. Anything else you didn't care. All you are looking at the dimple on his left cheek. So let us not look at how energetic a leader is or how vibrant a leader is, but let us look at what is the leader bringing on the table. Is he speaking agenda that resonates with your issues? Today I would ask, how many bills has Sifuna put out there for the youth? How many bills has Babu put out there for the youth? So let us start vetting them on the basis of representation. It's not about making noise out here, but what changes are you making in terms of policy that would change the lives of our young people? So it is good. We are waiting to see what will happen on 27th of March, whether Sifuna and Sandri will come for the NDC and whether they are going to continue taking up their role. Remember that it is not a must that Sifuna has to be in leadership for Sifuna to lead or even to offer leadership, or any other person for that matter. Even the party leader said they are not indispensable. So anyone can be a party leader, anyone can be an SG, and that does not mean that the other people are not good leaders, if I may say, in response to...
Thank you, Rachel. Bwana Sosio, Nifuna, Sifuna?
You know, it is very easy to incite, and raw incitement is a good thing for anybody to do when you find a receptive audience to do that. But raw incitement does not translate to transformative leadership. I think what is important here is that going into 2027 and the practice of election that we have seen in Kenya is about issues, issue-based. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from Sifuna, whether it's coming from Babu, whether it's coming from Matiang'i, from Kalonzo, from President Ruto. What is important is the transformative agenda. What Kenyans will be voting for is an agenda, not necessarily personalities and individuals. The season of incitement will come and go, and there will be a season of structured reasoning. So I would advise anybody in Kenya seeking to bring leadership change, seeking to occupy leadership position, bring us an issue-based transformative agenda that Kenyans will buy, that is convincing, that is believable, that is doable, that is time-bound, and that can be delivered. And that agenda, for now, is very, very strong and very clear at the corner of President William Ruto. All these others is just but empty noise.
Thank you, Wale.
That is headed nowhere.
Wakili Kianjo, you have a final word on the show today.
Thank you very much. I must say that I'm totally disappointed in they who want us, like Sosion, with tremendous respect to him. You want us to bury below the carpet everything that has gone wrong with Ruto's presidency. You want us to close our eyes, act blind, totally ignorant, blissfully, hiding our understanding of the failures of the Shah. And we say that we will give you a further 5 years to torment us in the way that you have tormented us. No, not possible. It can't be. Kenyans who are going to that Sifuna crowd, that they were in Kitengela, were like, it's one term. Okay, fine, constitutionally you're there. If they had a way of impeaching him, they would impeach him like yesterday. So the likes of Sosion saying that the person with issue-based, what issue-based? I mean, you come and tell us your wheelbarrow policies, bottom-up, are going to, take us, transform this country.
But you voted for that wheelbarrow.
Hold on, transformative. And then suddenly he sleeps and wakes up in the morning and says at 3 a.m. I dreamt about Singapore. And Kenya should be Singapore. Come on, I mean, the Kenyan people are telling him it is not tenable. It is not possible. So the leadership that we all should be looking at is that which can take us from this trap that we've been thrown into. The debt cycle that we have right now is totally unholy and manageable. So the leaders that we should be having now, going to 2027, should not be politicians who just want re-election or election for the sake of going to the National Assembly or the Senate or whichever other position of leadership, merely to be able to milk from the taxpayer the benefit of that. Do we have, for instance, out of this slew of so-called prospective leaders, someone who has come and told us, look, I'm going to transform the way the National Assembly, as a member of the National Assembly, does their representation at the constituency level. I'm going to demand, and I'm going to ask for a law to be passed, that every constituency should have a motor vehicle for the member of National Assembly, for the member of County Assembly, that they should use. So let's forget about this idea that the taxpayer funds you a 10 million sort of four-wheel drive guzzler, that then we go get mileage allowance. No. Do we have that? Is that not transformative in the sense that we will save the Kenyan taxpayer a lot of money? Do we have some of these people saying that, look, let us all get these young people who do not have jobs in one corporation that is going to be getting these tenders? Let's agree so that we build competence, we build efficiency, and also the labor base that we need. And then once we have these sort of deliveries by this corporation, having all this representation, then we can get contracts from Ethiopia, contracts from Angola, and so on and so forth. Do we have that sort of a thing? Isn't that what, Sosion, I would describe as transformative, transform? But what do you have right now? Oh, re-elect me. Re-elect you so that you can go and impose on me a housing levy I do not have a say in, and then you go build those houses in military bases. Kahawa Garrison, for heaven's sake, they are building. Come on!
Wakili. Thank you so much, Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, advocate of the High Court. Rachel Omolo, public policy and governance expert, and Mwalimu Wilson Sosion, who's a veteran unionist, educationist, and also a former member of the National Assembly. Our panelists this morning, Nifuna Sifuna, that's the question everyone is asking, and we'll be continuing that conversation even tomorrow on the Youth Perspective. Well, after the break, we'll be switching gears and talking about matters health, hypertension. Anne Odida will be having that conversation, so do stand by for that. Once again, the headlines this morning: Uhuru apanua kikosi, matters Jubilee and PNU. Kalonzo allies claim Matiang'i is a mole in united opposition ranks. Who's fooling whom? The big discussion around that cooperation deal signed between the county government of Nairobi and the national government. These are the big conversations this morning. This is a State of the Nation. See you after the break.